meshmixer, I am importing the model, the OBJ file. Again, you cannot file and open a .obj. Okay, here I am. We can use the same navigation that we use in Maya. So Option and left mouse button allows you to tumble and space. Middle mouse button allows you to dolly with Option. Left mouse button is the smooth zoom. Okay, so same principles as in Maya. So as you notice when we were taking a look at this model, there are going to be some holes in it that we need to repair in order to do anything useful with this. So you can see this hole right here, and there's a giant hole where the shoulders are, right? We need to be able to fill those holes. So the first step when we're dealing with any 3D scan, this is first, it's crucial, it's critical. We need to go into Edit, and we need to go to Close Cracks. Now when I click this, it will look as though nothing has happened, but I promise you a lot of things have happened. Often what happens with these 3D scans is that there are separate pieces of geometry that are joining up but are not completely combined yet. So by closing cracks, it will allow this piece of software to sense that this is a full mesh and not a series of small separate objects. So close cracks is critical in order to be able to do any of the next steps, okay? So do not forget, Edit, Close Cracks. Now that we've done that, I'm going to show you how to fill a simple hole like this one here in the chin. I'm going to zoom in on that, and I'm going to go into Select here in the toolbar. So now you can see when I hover over my object, the size of the brush, the sphere disc brush that I have. I'm going to reduce the size of that just because I have a smaller hole, so I don't need a gigantic brush. Get a good look at it, and if I double click on the margin of the hole, you can see that it highlights the entire margin of this hole, right? Did you guys see that?
Yes.
Thank you, Dion. So I have double clicked that, highlighted the entire hole, and if I press the key F, you can see that F fills in the hole. So this looks great. This has solved my problem. So over here, I need to click Accept to complete the operation. So I'm going to click Accept, and now I'm going to clear selection. And another thing you can see is that meshmixer has done its best to recolor the area where the hole was. So it's trying to blend in with the colors of the beard here. So now we need to go around and try and scope out any other holes. So I think I see one over here behind the ear. That's kind of a tricky one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try the same process here. Take the size of the brush down, double click on the margin of the hole. Whoops, too much, too much.
You have to click on clear selection.
Clear selection will just deselect everything.
Yeah, is there another version of doing that, or you have to do that?
I'm sure there's a keyboard shortcut,
Okay.
but I don't know it off the top of my head. That's a great question. There's actually in the help area here keyboard shortcuts. So if you want to take a look at that, you can absolutely do that. So I'm going to try and select the margin of this hole again. That looks like it's actually gotten it this time. So I'm going to try and click F. That looks good. Accept. Clear selection. And now I don't have a hole there anymore. So you can go around your model and do this. I'm trying to find, whoops, too far. I'm trying to find a hole that doesn't fill easily. I'm going to see if I can find one that's going to give us trouble. Let's see here. Because you will find often with these models that there will be something that does not resolve itself really easily. This looks like a good candidate for a tricky patch. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to select, oh, come on. Come on, it's making it too easy for me. So that looks, actually went just fine. Dang it. You know, just when you think, yeah, there's probably some more. Let's see here. Trying to find a good one. Shucks, guys. Maybe, here we go. This could be a good one. Let's try this out. Oh, God. Here we go. Aha, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so you can see here, when I selected that and I tried to fill it, rather than turning orange and giving me a preview of what it would look like, it has turned magenta. If you have a hole that turns magenta around the margins rather than resolving itself, that means that you probably have a cylindrical internal geometry there. So if you think about bridging a gap, right? It would be easier for a computer program to fill a hole in the outside of a water bottle versus filling a hole across the opening of a water bottle, right? Because there's almost a 90-degree angle that's at play there. So what's happening is that there's some probably internal geometry that's preventing meshmixer from filling this easily, mathematically. So what we want to do is, rather than weep gently to ourselves, and give up, and cry, we're going to accept. It looks like it disappeared, but I promise you it didn't. We're going to reselect this hole again, and rather than pressing F, I'm going to press X. So what I've done is I have deleted the margin of this hole, and ideally that will have taken some of that bad internal geometry with me. I can see down here that it probably needs a little bit more taken out. This looks like a problem area to me. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that stuff over here, because I think that's what's preventing us from being able to patch this model easily. So go ahead, take some of this stuff out. And none of this is important for the model's detail, right? This is underneath the collar, so it's okay for us to get rid of this stuff. So I think that may do it. Let's give it a whirl. Give it a whirl. Whoops, too much. Let's try that one more time. Aha! So now you can see that it will allow me to fill that area. So if you attempt to fill something with the F key and it doesn't work, again, probably what's happening is there's a little bit of geometry there that is concave, and it's not allowing you to patch it across easily. So clear out some of the hole using X and then attempt to fill it again. So that's good. Okay, so now I've shown you how to fill these smaller holes, but that doesn't solve the problem for the base of the model, which has a really large gap here, right? So the first order of business will be to eliminate this weird floaty stuff. So if we're lucky, we can select this whole model here, and some of that floaty stuff is not selected because it's hovering off of the model, right? So I can say, select invert. So when I invert the selection, now I have these guys selected, and I can just hit delete and they should go away, or X rather, and they go away. Okay? So that's how I'm getting rid of any extra geometry that is not continuous. This stuff here looks like it's coming from another collar area that needs to be patched, so I'm going to leave that alone for now. All of the extra floating stuff is gone now. So what I'm going to do next is show you a new process that will allow us to patch a large area. So if I were to try and patch the margin of this hole, it doesn't like that at all, right? You can see how it's giving me magenta, it's giving me a red squiggly line. It's not pleased with us. Sometimes I have seen people actually succeed in filling shoulders like this, and what will happen is meshmixer will make this giant bulbous tumor-like form underneath, which is not much better. So we need a different strategy for filling this area. So in Edit, I'm going to go to the command above close cracks called plane cut. And plane cut allows us to use a plane as a cutting implement, and then it gives us options what to do with the object afterward. So you can see here, I have a set of manipulators just like in Maya. I can raise and lower this form, but what I really need to do is to rotate the plane to be going in the correct direction. So I'm going to use this one here. Here's a cool thing with meshmixer. You can see I can rotate this and it's giving me these little tiny increments, 79.97. What if I want to do just 90? If I go out to this sort of circle around, it allows me to go in regular increments. So I'm selecting 90 here, and now my plane has rotated. I don't want to get rid of the top of his head. Here we go. I want to get rid of things at the bottom of the shoulders. Okay, so now you can see that it's going to get rid of anything that's below a certain line. And it's important that we make sure there's this little tiny jog in the geometry right here. Can you guys see that? It's sort of small.
Yes.
But it's important that we not have any gaps. So I'm bringing the plane up. You can see the jog here is now covered by the plane. So in the plane cut menu, you can see that it's going to cut and discard the lower part, and it will also fill in that area. So we can use a remesh fill. We can say no fill, I want it to stay hollow. Minimal fill if we're trying to save on polygons, or a fixed fill. We want remeshed fill. That's going to try to make it continuous with our model. And I'll say accept, and we'll see what we get. Oh, it didn't do it. So what's probably happening here is that the plane cut worked, but the holes that are still in the model have to be repaired before the plane cut can remesh. So I'm just going to back up till before I did the plane cut. And I'll show you one other thing that you can do. So say I think I'm pretty solid with this. I think I've filled all of the holes. There's an additional step that I need to take. Go into Analysis and click Inspector when you think you're done. So you can see here that all of these pins that are appearing around the model are mesh errors that are preventing me from conducting more complex operations like plane cut. So you can say, so right here it says auto repair all. Never ever click auto repair all. Okay? It may seem like a good idea, but I assure you, if you click auto repair all and you have a model that looks like that, you have a 99% chance of crashing the program and losing everything that you've done so far.
Click it. Click it.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not clicking it. I have to show you how to fix it correctly, and then at the end we'll do it. It'll be fine.
What's the other percentage? What would happen?
It might go just fine. It might go just fine.
I'm a gambler, so
Yeah. Yeah, and as long as you've saved your work so far, I encourage you to try it, but do not click auto repair all. not having saved the work that you've done. Okay, give it a whirl. Why not? On your own time, for fun. So what you can do rather than clicking auto repair all is click each of these little guys just individually and give it a moment. Don't just like click them rapid fire, because essentially you'll be doing what auto repair all does and causing the program to crash if you click them all rapid fire, okay? So you can see that there's a lot of stuff here that we would not have been able to even notice, right? I didn't see holes in these locations on the model, did you? So that's what Inspector is good for. It can identify areas that are not visible to us and fix them.
Chelsea,
Yes,
what's the difference between bullets and the red ones?
that is a great question that I have no idea what the answer is to. Yeah, there are pink ones. I assume that it's a different type of error, like a different problem with the mesh, but I could not tell you what those different types of problems are. It's a great question. I have actually tried to find out before, and I have not been able to.
See, thank you.
Yeah, it's a really good question. It is, but
I know.
no idea. Yeah, it tried to fix the texture there, but it's just approximating what it thinks should be there, and it didn't do a good job with your eye. Sorry, Greg. One's good enough. You'll have one and you'll like it.
Is there a way you can manually fix it so it doesn't do that?
Not really. It's a lot down to the importance of a really good scan to start with to prevent damage to that photogrammetry skin that it's creating. But there's not much that you can do in terms of fixing it differently. So I've gone through here and I've clicked the pins that I can see. I don't think I missed any. Just gonna quickly check. Okay. It didn't do a very good job there either. Okay, so now I have gone through and I've used Inspector. I'm going to reattempt that plane cut again. So let's try that one more time. There we go. Woo. Okay. So this looks pretty good. I'm going to give that plane cut one more try. Now that I've solved those errors. And let's see if all went according to plan. Yes. So now we have a watertight model. I'm just going to check Inspector one more time, see if there's anything that popped up. Look, now we have more problems.
Yay. Wait, what does the colors mean?
Yeah, Chris just asked that, and I don't know.
Oh.
It's a really, really good question. No idea. No idea.
It's just poking out more holes in his head.
I know. I feel bad.
Fluorescent Hellraiser.
Yeah, it is making more holes. I don't know why. We're gonna have to fix those. Yeah. That's a really good question. I think probably what we want to do is fix them up real good, rather than there might be some internal geometry that we're just not able to see that it's trying to get rid of for us. But it's odd that it appeared between now and when we closed the model. But again, that leads me to believe that there's some sort of internal geometry that would cause us a problem if we were to go and 3D print this.
That's what my psychologist said.
There's some internal geometry problem. Okay, so let's try and patch that. So that looks, yeah.
No more skin texture.
Yeah, it's not quite great, but at any rate, those are the processes that I would advise you to use when you are repairing your 3D scans. Does anyone have any questions or need to see any of that demo again?
I actually just found out what the colors mean.
What do the colors mean?
So, okay, blue indicates a minor error,
Okay.
which can be easily patched. Red stands for larger holes, and pink indicates an island which will be removed in the first step.
Okay.
That's interesting.
So it indicates like the severity of.
I see. So it's like, how bad is it?
Yeah, like blue's pretty good.
How bad is it, Doc?
Red's like, okay, Doc, you're looking a little bad.
Right.
And pink's like, oh my God, she's dying.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. That is great. Thank you for finding that out. Oops. So now we know. Mystery solved. So everybody got that, right? That it's the level of severity of the issue. Okay. So did anyone else have any questions or need to see a process repeated? All right. So that's how to use meshmixer. That's going to be phase 1. I think this is probably going to take the entire class period for people to scan and start repairing their models. So for next class, I will show you Mudbox. All right.